we are in the first episode of our industry speaker series for fall 2024. We do this industry speaker series to bridge the knowledge gap between the industry professionals and the current students so that they are well aware of what's happening or how to develop the kind of skills we do need in the industry. So today we have a very special guest, Kirti Sonal, a very special UTD alum. She's currently working as a senior manager, revenue growth management at Reynolds American. There she leads, coaches, and manages high-performing team on both technical and leadership skills. And she also manages multi-million dollars of joint business planning budget for local deployment of promotions for strategic and regional accounts. However, previously she also worked as a senior promotion and pricing lead at 7-Eleven, where she led, coached, and managed high performing pricing team for 30% of overall 7-Eleven business. And apart from that, Kirti has been extremely active during her time at UTD. Even when I was going through her profile, I was so impressed by the awards and recognitions. To just name a few, she was awarded an honorary member of the Beta Gamma Sigma and also awarded high distinction honor by the University of Texas at Dallas for MBA. I personally know Kirti. She has been a mentor for Graduate Finance Management Council, a panel member in FinHack, and now our special speaker for the Industry Speaker Series. So thank you so much, Kirti, for joining us today, and I'd really like to give you a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Of course, I enjoy a lot whenever I talk to you guys. So I always try not to say no whenever there is an invitation. So I adjust my schedule. So yeah, it's always good to give back. And, I feel, pleasure is all mine. I feel very much like happy or feel satisfied whenever I talk to you guys. So
Perfect. Thank you, Kit. Honestly, we're really
yeah,
grateful because I remember when I reached out to you, you immediately said like you would be doing this, and I was very like honestly like very grateful and honored, and
yeah.
I felt like yeah that was very sweet. So just moving on to the questions. I mean, I think I'll just give the floor to Aravindan to start our interview.
Okay.
Firstly, thanks a lot for joining us. Kirti. It's a very good
Mm-hmm.
experience for us to have you here. So first question, what's your journey to becoming senior revenue manager? Like, what were your drivers to becoming this?
Well, I had like a very adventurous life since I came to US. So, I did my undergrad in India and bachelor's of computer science engineering. And as you know, all engineers start as a software engineer. So that's how I started. But I like to talk a lot. And if you're a software engineer, most of the time, the requirement, everything is given. All you need to do is sit in the corner and not talk and just deliver the stuff which is given to you. And that annoyed me for a very long time. Like, why can't I be the part of roadmap and the business decisions? So my mentor when I came to US after getting married, my mentor who hired me in Metro PCS, he told me that if I understand where you want to go, but whatever you have will not take you there. So you need to understand the business side of it. You need to go back to school and do MBA or some kind of business, degree. Then only you can apply for those jobs. Otherwise, clearly you're not eligible to get in that role. So I decided to apply, and the only option I had was UTD because my husband used to work here, and I'm like, okay, I can't go somewhere else. So this is 5 miles from my home. I'm going to apply to UTD and wait for my luck. And obviously, I got into it, and I did full time MBA at UTD. And at that time, I don't know if they are doing it now, but UTD did not let you measure in any particular subject. But if you want to measure in something, you just take more courses in that. So I decided to take 4 courses of finance as my elective and 4 for marketing because I was still thinking that whether go one route or the other or just balance it so that I have 2 ways to market myself. So I was like, when I was like trying to search my job, I had put like MBA in both finance and marketing. Um, and they will write, if you want, the professor will write or give a certificate saying that, okay, yeah, enough courses done to say that, like, you have done MBA. And then, of course, during my MBA also, I was fortunate enough to get jobs like during my course only. So I did a lot of analyst job in the beginning. Like I also worked for startup. And I also had like this thing in my mind that I want to launch my own company. So I had like too many big dreams, at that time, and even now, I think finance is now like 3 years OPT. At that time, it was only 1 year. So I got only 1 year OPT. But thank God I got a green card. I had only 6 months time lag when I had no work permit. So my OPT expired. And after 6 months, I got a green card through my husband. So during that time, I like literally wanted to, instead of writing a gap in the resume, I just wanted to show that I did something apart from certification. So I'm very big on doing something which 1,000 people are not doing. Because if you are like, if you go to an interview and you say, oh, I am very good in advanced Excel, so is 50,000 other people, So you have to do something which the like 5 people are doing to stand out. And a lot of people think that they can't figure it out. But if you pay enough attention, everybody has that one thing which they stand out. So I did a lot of background work on launching my own company to Uberize the photography business. So I collaborated from somebody in India. I actually built a website, registered the company in Dallas, and did a lot of things. And then I have a friend in PwC. I'm like, okay, I want to, get funding to launch this company. And he said that, first of all, you don't have a job, so that works. But you cannot be alone. You have to have 2 people who do not have jobs, and at least they should have some kind of technical degree. You are an engineer, so it works out. But the other person should also have some kind of technical degree, and third person can be totally business. And at least 2% is needed without job. If they have jobs, then nobody is giving you funding. Of course, nobody was ready to collaborate with me. So it just like the dream was over. And then I searched for a job. And of course, I found the job. And then, I started working as an analyst, and then, more started moving on more business side. And somehow the universe kept on supporting me. And I worked in several different industry, like from photography to you know, this retailer, and now I work for a manufacturer. And everywhere I did a little bit or a little more of a different thing. And I figured out that I always kept on reinventing myself and figuring out, oh, this is what I like. I don't think I like what I used to do. So every time the universe served me with something which I didn't know about me before. And then finally here, I really like what I do. And it's more of a pricing, a financial modeling. And the department itself comes under marketing, but a lot of companies have RGM under finance. And some companies have RGM as a standalone, which is because it requires both marketing and finance knowledge application. So that's how I ended up. It's a long-winded answer, but I hope it's helpful.
That's awesome. Nice to hear your story. A quick
Yeah.
follow-up question, since you are from engineering background, is
Yeah.
your engineering degree coming handy for you in your current role? Because I'm
It
myself an
it
engineer. I did my
yeah.
instrumentation and
It
control systems
helps a
engineering.
lot. I would recommend everybody to be like engineer, because engineering just gives you a creative gene inside you. Every time you're doing something, you're creating something. So engineering just helps you boost that thing to come out whenever you're doing something. Even if you're cooking, you can just cook randomly, or you can design think it, like whoever
Mm,
is the customer of that food. So I literally feel like whenever, like, a lot of these jobs are building tools, and once
mm,
the tool is there, then you start applying it. And a lot of times companies do not have all the tools which is needed for you to function. So
right.
you will be involved either building tool in the spreadsheet, or they will build an application, but they would want your input. So being
Mm,
an engineer, a lot of times I'm interacting with IT. So now
mm,
I can speak in their language and they can understand me. So there is a better, whenever they are doing the writing the requirement, there is a
Mm,
better communication. They can understand me, I can understand you.
mm,
If I was not engineer, most of the time I'm speaking some marketing or finance language and IT is speaking some engineering language, and there is a massive gap in between.
mm,
And that's how, like, you will hear that a lot of projects failed, or the engineer understood something else and this person was explaining something else, and in between person could not translate. So it's always good to have that technical background, because now you are like first hand communicating and you understand what they are saying, so it's
mm,
very much helpful.
mm.
Yeah.
And also they bring a different perspective, right? Especially engineers
Yeah.
who are currently in a different domain like finance or marketing. They do bring
Yeah,
a
yes,
different
yes.
perspective.
I can see, like, a lot of times I'll think that whatever I'm thinking is a very basic, and I will go in the meeting and five other people might be thinking the same thing. But to
Mm,
my surprise, I would see that a lot of people have totally different thinking, and I'm like totally coming from a different mindset. So I think it helps. It definitely helps. Yeah.
sure. Sam?
Yeah. Thank you, Kirti. Honestly, when I was
Yeah.
listening to your story, right, you said too many dreams. I mean, I was like, yes, and that's actually very inspiring, because when you're actually have so much ambitious, right? You're
Yeah.
ambitious, you want to achieve so much, you
Yeah.
do end up doing things you thought you probably wouldn't be able to, right?
Yeah.
And one of
Right.
the examples that you said was the startup thing. Even though you didn't
Yeah.
take it forward, but you did try.
Yeah.
You reached out to a person in
Yeah.
PwC.
Mhm.
So
I
what?
always mention that in my interviews. Like, that's
Okay,
like my proudest moment, because everything comes with the courage. So if
correct.
you don't have courage, you won't even go for an interview. Like, you'll say, "Oh, I don't think it requires Python. I don't know Python. I'm not even applying to that job." It
Right.
doesn't matter. Just hit apply and learn Python on YouTube. If you get that role. So I'm like, don't get scared. Everything starts with courage. Yeah.
No, that's a very good advice. This is where
Yeah.
my question was coming in, right? So somebody, even I am
Yeah.
very interested in startups, but I feel like I do
Yeah.
not have a community of entrepreneurs. Do I have
Hmm.
the background to become an entrepreneur here in the US, as an international student? So like what
Yeah.
skills do you think helped for you, or what advice would you give somebody who like said, I have a passion for startups. Like
Hmm.
I said, like you didn't want to have a gap in your resume, you tried something different. So like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
skills, or like is it networking, or is it like doing something, getting
I think
certifications?
the
Like,
biggest thing
yeah.
is idea and the timing. So if
Okay.
five people are building Chat GPT, and now you come up with the sixth, or like now it's like thousand Chat GPT or OpenAI is there, and you again build the same thing. Of course, your timing is bad, and 50 other peoples are
True.
competing. So this is completely a bad idea. So you have to, and there are, too many things are there in this world. Still we have problems, so all you need to do is look around you. What problem can you solve?
Hmm.
Like, for example, I'll give you an example, and which is from a professor from Harvard, Professor Clayton Christensen. He is like my favorite professor of all time. Like, whatever you can learn, you can learn. I mean, he passed away a couple years ago. So his theory was like, he gave an example in one of his book. He said that, when you're driving to office and you don't have time for breakfast at home, you want something to eat which is not sticky in your hand, or it's very easy, it's not distracting you while you're driving, and still your stomach is getting filled. So said that there was a smoothie store where every morning, like, people will come and line up, and he would not understand why people will come to this smoothie store, like specifically that, and they all will buy smoothie and go out. So he
Mhm.
said that, and there were donuts also, there were muffin also, nobody will buy, and only smoothie they will buy, and specifically from that store only. So he interviewed couple people and figured out that the reason why they are getting smoothie from that store is because they all have a long boring drive to office, and they don't have time for breakfast. They want something which is handy, which doesn't spoil their fingers, where they need to go wash their hand, and also it's satisfying and filling. So the smoothie which they sold was not a regular smoothie. It was like just right amount of thickness. Not like if you have not a good thickness, then you can just drink it in like 2 minutes and then you are bored for next 30 minutes. So it was just right amount of thickness that you cannot drink it that fast. It will last 30 minutes. So they just like, it's very normal thinking, but not everybody can think that. Like a lot of people are
Correct.
selling smoothing, but they are not thinking this small situation where a lot of people, once they figure out, they cannot live without. And they would not buy donut because their hands will go dirty, or muffin will just spill all over the car and the car will get dirty. So all those things will happen. So similar to this situation, there are many problems which still needs to be solved. All you need to do is pay attention. That's what stand-up comedian do. What they do, they just state the regular thing in life. It's just the right timing and the delivery. So for startup also, it's just right time and the right idea, which is solving some problem. And you don't have to think that, a lot of people think that you have to come up with something which sells to the masses, dog
Mhm.
food or whatever. No. If you are in the rat race, you are just going nowhere. So you have to come up with something which maybe only five people like, and they like it. I mean, the way nobody else likes. So those five people will go and tell their own five friends, and those five will go. So the word of mouth, and that kind of people will be like the most loyal of your business. And that's how it will stay for long, and it will go further. Unless you are Steve Jobs, who comes up with something which is like, even if you are dead, and the people are still ready to give their
True.
paycheck. Otherwise, you have to solve some kind of like real business problem, and not business, any problem,
Hmm.
which really solves it. So you need to really think of a product as a jobs to be done. Like, why would
Right.
somebody hire the milkshake? So what
Correct.
job the milkshake is doing for that person? So that's how you
Right.
have to think. And if you keep thinking in the way brain, so I'm also interested in, the what do you call it? The how the universe works. I keep
Okay.
researching.
Okay.
There is
Metaphysics.
more truth than the reality. So
Hmm.
the way
Yeah.
I have figured out, like, the brain, whatever you ask from your brain, it just over time develops it. So if you
Mm.
keep thinking of ideas and you keep thinking what problems the universe has which I can solve, it will come to you either in terms of YouTube
True.
or from Google search, or somewhere you'll go in the party and you'll figure out, oh, this problem I can solve.
That
You
makes
just need
sense.
to ask from the universe, and it will deliver it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
This answers really well the question, yeah. But like from your
Yeah.
answer, I could understand you read books. I mean, is that
I read books, yeah, but not all books. I have to it
okay?
when I mean I have when I start, it has to resonate with me. So a lot of
Okay.
books are like just random books, do this 10 things or whatever. But just by reading the cover, I mean the summary or something,
Yeah.
I have to feel connected to that book or that
Hmm.
author, and I get that feeling, and then I start, and then I obsess over that author, and I go
Okay.
find every single thing that author has done.
No,
um
that makes sense. This I wanted to ask, like, if
yeah.
I had to ask you, what would you say, like, the top two books you would recommend that is like, teaches, be it for finance, business, life, you would recommend, or maybe one
Yeah,
book, your top
yeah,
favorite.
I mean, for a very long time I was very much obsessed with Professor Clayton Christensen, because
Okay.
he like a lot of people, I mean, he launched his book Innovator's Dilemma long time back before Steve Jobs, and a lot of big companies like Salesforce and Steve Jobs all got the idea of jobs to be done from Professor Clayton Christensen. And the
Okay.
most recent, I think Daniel Pink is very much my favorite, because he says that no matter what degree or what course you have done or where you want to go, we are all in the sales and marketing. All
Hmm.
the time we are trying to sell ourselves all the time. So if you can't sell your resume, you can't sell your work, or you are selling your project to professor or your exam to professor. All the time we are in the sales. So if
Correct.
you think just doing math or competing in math or whatever, it's not going to cut it. So you need to somehow figure out how to become a salesman, not the salesman of past, the car salesman, but the salesman where there is abundance of information. You cannot lie in your resume. You cannot do anything, because everything you know about yourself, your hiring manager also knows and can figure out true or false. So how in like in past, there was a lot of hidden information because nobody can figure out what's going on with you. But now everything is online. Like, dude, what can you lie? You cannot.
Correct.
So in the abundance of information, how you are going to sell yourself. And we have to sell all the time. Like, I cook for my children, and they have, like, I have to sell my food every day to them.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
Must be okay.
So,
No, thanks, Kirti. Yeah, maybe we'll shift gears. Arvind,
yeah.
then you can start on. Maybe we'll just ask you a little bit on what you do on the technical side. Yeah, Arvind.
So
Yeah.
next is a very burning question for all of us, right? How would you
Mhm.
approach job search in today's scenario, Kirti? One of the things you said is you talked about rat race, right? So
Mhm.
job search is pretty much like a rat race. Should we
Yeah,
be a
it
rat
is.
and be the best rat in the race, or like
Yeah.
should we think out of the box and be the cat that eats away all the rats? How would you
Yeah.
approach this?
Well, I would say that apply to big companies. I see a lot of people like start thinking that, okay, big companies won't hire me, or you have harder interview and all those. I would say obsess over big companies, like
Mm,
literally, like go and find all the big companies ever created in history and hit apply to everybody. And don't obsess over job description so much. Just look for, since it's a new entry level jobs used, like if you're not obsessed with banking, like investment banking and all that, I would say go for any analyst job, financial analyst, data analyst, marketing analyst, whatever it says analyst other than banking. Some people I know that they really want to go in investment banking, then they have like they can only go to the bank. But if you are open, and I think everybody should be open in the beginning of their career, just hit apply. It doesn't matter if you know Python, it doesn't matter. Most companies still use spreadsheet. Some have internal tools, and all those internal tools are way easier to manage than the spreadsheet. So if you know all advanced Excel, and it's if you even if you don't know, it's not very hard. Go on YouTube and learn it. Um, but don't think that, oh, this has written 50 different things and I only know one thing, or I don't even know that. Doesn't matter. Just keep hitting apply. And what even if you get, like, you apply 1,000 jobs, you will get 5 interviews. Just try to do best of best. Like, prepare for case interview. Most companies these days hire for attitude, like, and don't lie in anything whatever you're saying. Like, for example, when we hire, we always ask, what is the time when you failed? Explain me, like, how did you approach that situation? Tell me a time when you had to tell something very difficult to your hiring manager, I mean your manager or your professor. So don't lie. Just say, tell exact what was the, and always follow the star format, and just say everything that, because they want everybody in universe fails. Even we fail still, and CEOs fail. All they want to know is how did you handle the situation? Where did you try to cover it, or you have a high integrity and you went and told that you made a mistake, and how what all actions you did, and what actions you did to make sure that it doesn't happen in future. So always tell the truth. If they are asking for weakness, tell the real weakness. Don't tell something which is a positive. No, they are not. That's all old interview style. Just say everything truth, and the truth will take you far. And yeah, and just obsess over, and after interview, just write what you thought. And sometimes after giving interview, in my mind, most of the time you already get the feeling that what answers you should have given in a different way. And always write it down. And when you go in the next interview, Just revise your notes and go back there.
Mm,
And every single job I mean, anybody who has ever searched for job, it never happened very first time or second time. Everybody has to go through like several times interview, and they have to like apply way too many times. So all
mm,
those things can happen, and it's very normal.
mm,
And never think that, oh, I'm not ever going. Everybody will get a job
mm,
no matter what.
mm,
Sooner or later, one day you will have a job.
mm.
So that's what I
Yeah.
can say.
Sure.
That's when you said, Kirti, that like apply for the big companies. I've been
Mhm.
actually like got advice complete opposite. Don't obsess over big companies. You're not
Yeah.
gonna get it, so just keep applying.
Yeah,
So
that's the wrong advice, I would say, because in recession, the only people survive in big companies are the people who are like at the entry level, because the companies
Mm,
sort people with the salary and then
uh,
evaluate who are needed.
mm.
Because recession means what? I don't have money. How am I
Right.
going to cut the people?
correct,
Mm,
correct,
So it starts from top. And
right,
small companies, they have 5 people. So
mm,
who they are going to cut? They want people with experience because they have limited resource. They don't want to take the overhead of, young people who you need to, because by the time they are training, you are just cost to the company until you start delivering to them.
correct,
So they
correct.
right.
don't want cost at that time. I'm not saying don't apply everywhere, but pray to God that you get hired
Mm,
in a big company, because that
mm,
will take you, I mean, that will keep your career secured for a very long time.
mm.
That makes sense, Kirti. So
Yeah.
what you said, everybody has all of the kinds of skills these days. Everybody knows advanced Excel, right? And it's a rat race. So,
Yeah.
but the first to get the interview call, the first challenge is to get the interview call, right, Kirti? Because the resume
Yeah.
has to stand out. So the
Yeah.
most, sorry,
Mhm.
the most common question is like, how do I stand out in my resume? What skills or what experience, academic project? Because everyone is doing everything these days. How do you stand
Yeah.
out?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. There is no doubt. First job is very hard because, they are HR. First of all, HR is matching, and now, these days AI is matching your resume. So
Correct.
all they are doing is matching Word and Word. Nobody is reading the resume, literally. So if it says Python and you have no Python in your resume, obviously you are getting cut down by
Exactly.
some automated algorithm. So all those things can happen. But I still think, like, okay, if you can, like, you can try to match those words, but that's too much of hard work, like, because every job description has totally different words. But if you are trying to do one kind of, like, for example, just applying to financial analyst, you can just browse some 5 or 6 different jobs and see what technical skills they are written, because entry level job, they are mostly looking at the technical skills, and try to
Mhm.
write them down in your resume. And most, I
Okay.
mean, big companies, they will rarely do technical interview because they know that they have to teach you. They are just hiring for the attitude. So in
Okay.
my company, there is no freaking technical interview at all. It's all attitude based interview. They will
Interesting.
just, on the first round, they will just say, do you know Excel? Do you know this? Just say, yes, 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 yes. I know everything. I'm not going to ask you to write some, if no, I mean, most big companies do not. Some might be
Mhm.
like, but most big companies in business side, of course, I don't know about the software engineering because it's long since I have applied in that. But in business side, almost all hiring is based on the attitude, how you handle yourself in any situation. Do you lie? Do you try to cover up? All those things. Are you self-obsessed? A lot of people who are out of college are very self-obsessed individual contributor because they are all about getting higher grades, 4.0, and so, and in an office, they are not looking for self-obsessed people. They are looking people who are ready to
Been
collaborate.
there.
They are not thinking that, oh, if I tell him my secret, he is going to get 4.0 and I'm going to get 3. No, it doesn't work like that. In office, they will ask questions where they will make sure you are like more interested in collaboration than just trying to shine yourself. Because in companies, you are working for one God and everybody is working towards, feeding that God. So it's not about you, it's always about we. So they all also say whenever you are trying to answer the interview, if you keep saying I, that is also a downer because you are very much into I. So you have, whenever possible, you always have to use the word we.
Arvind, then you can take the.
Kirti, thanks a lot. That was very
Mhm.
insightful. In the interest of time, we'll wrap up, but we'll
Yeah.
conclude with the last question, right? One of the
Mhm.
things we noticed is you've been in Dallas for over a decade, right?
Yeah.
How do you
I
think
was
Dallas
always been
has
in there.
how do
Yeah.
you think Dallas has evolved over the years,
Oh
specifically
my
in terms of
God.
job
Yeah.
opportunities? We see many big firms moving to Dallas, and they are setting up headquarters right now in Dallas. So, how do you
Yeah.
see this?
Well, I'm like very excited about Dallas. When I came, the Dallas was like, I don't know, it was very limited in opportunity, and a couple of companies would be there, and mostly not really tech, and it was more of a like banking or whatever. I mean, it was not very much in, like, nobody will say that, okay, I'm going to Dallas to do a job, or I found a job in Dallas. Mostly people will go to California, but with California people moving in and all the companies moving in, it's like now hub for technology, finance, and logistics. So I think these three will is rising very much. And I think, a very diverse. It's not like California is only tech, tech, tech. This is not that. This is more cosmopolitan, and whatever area you want to go, you don't have to, like, literally, I never moved out to Dallas. I mean, my husband had like traveling job for a little bit, and I had an option to go anywhere. I never had a need to go anywhere. And my current company is also in North Carolina, but I work here in their sales office, which is in Dallas downtown. So it somehow worked out because this is a like hottest market. Texas has become hottest market for many companies, and also because there is no state tax, so companies move
Right.
here to avoid that. But the downside is the real estate has become picked up really high. So the rent is too high, the
Mhm.
house loan is too high. I mean, there is a property tax, which is like the second highest in United States.
Hmm.
So if somebody is buying house, they have to put like whatever they are paying in the apartment, that much amount they have to, or even more they have to pay in the property tax. So there is downside to it, but if you are just looking at the job market, I think it's very optimistic. And I don't think anybody has to go out of this Dallas area to find a job.
No, that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
literally, I have stayed in the same zip code since
Ah,
I have
okay.
been. Like, I have not
Nice.
moved to
No,
my
that
area.
right. Kirti,
Yeah.
this question I personally also had, like, and also when I was going through your profile, like, you have worn so
Yeah.
many hats. I mean, as a, full time you're
Mhm.
working, even at UTD, you were so active. You're doing
Mhm.
outside work like this, giving us time, and you're a mom,
Mhm.
and that's a full-time job as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, that's what we
Mhm.
assume. So this
Mhm.
is, how do you strike a work-life balance? I mean, is there even something? Is it
Well,
even real?
so I think it's called juggling things, and some things will fall. It's not that you're going to, in the game all the time. But you have to be very disciplined about the job part of it. A lot of
Okay.
people, there are five things I think is very important: your body and mind, your family, your friends, your job, and anything outside of that. But so I see that a lot of people start in reverse. They are like day and night, on the jobs, and like even after 5 they are just trying to do things which can leave the mark on the universe or whatever. I'm going to be proactive and do these 5 things before my manager asks me, and I'm going to wait until midnight and screwing my family life. I'm screwing my mental health. I'm sitting on this chair and eating pizza and screwing my personal health. And then after that, I'm watching reels for 2 hours. So you, so you have to be very disciplined about what is the, imagine a glass jar, and if you start putting pebbles, like big pebbles are like, the big important things in your life. If you put them first, um, there is still space for water. If you start putting water and it fills up, if you start putting pebble, it's overflowing. So it doesn't have any more
Correct.
capacity to hold. So what you need to do is like do your family thing first. And in case you are in meeting, for example, yesterday my daughter has to go to some kind of fall event with her school, and my husband promised that he has adjusted his meeting and he's going to take her. And I was at office, and suddenly he had got some unavoidable meeting, and he said that he can't take her. So I'm like, okay, let me check my schedule. And I was available. I talked to my manager that my husband cannot, but since we have promised our daughter, I think I
Mm,
should take her. And I drove back from downtown. I could have just said no, and
true.
she could have understood or whatever. But I wanted to show her, this new generation, that family first, if it is possible, unless there is a dire situation and somebody is dying
Yeah.
in office, which nobody is ever, unless you work for, you are a medical professional. Most
Correct.
of the time, nobody is dying because you did not deliver on time or any of those. So I think if possible, just ask manager. There are very rare managers, unless you have like some hard delivery going on, where managers will say, hey, don't prioritize your family. It's rare.
Correct.
And that, especially in the big companies, if you say, I have a family thing going on, they will let you go. They will never say,
Mm.
oh, stop. Nobody cares about your family. You have to deliver this shit before. No, none of those happens. So don't be courageous. And I would say prioritize the big things in life.
Perfect. Thank you
Yes.
so much,
Yeah.
Kirti. Honestly, like your
Yeah.
answers really show how much experience you have had, in all of this
Yeah.
years. So because everything you say, it was really striking me. I'm just like, okay, there is so
Yeah.
much to learn and actually take away. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
so that we have
Mhm.
already like it's been more than 30 minutes. So like,
Mhm.
if Arvind, then if you have any last question, we can maybe go over and maybe wrap it
Mhm.
up. Yeah.
Any takeaway points from you, Kriti? One of the things you kept saying was you're into metaphysics and philosophy. Any philosophical takeaway suggestions for
Yeah.
current students or graduating students?
Well, I would say that pay attention to the universe. Always trying to say something. If possible, try 15 minutes of meditation. And if you think that there is no time for meditation, give it an 1 hour because you desperately need meditation.
That's a good one. That's a good
Because
one.
there is always a time.
Mm,
You have 24 hours. CEO of NVIDIA has 24 hours. Clearly he is doing way more harder work than you, so you have time. Whenever you think there is no time, there is time to sit down in meditation and get away from all the Instagram reels, from anything which is distracting. And if you can't do meditation, just sit quiet. Just try to not move, just sit without any object. And there are bigger truth than current situation in the life, and the only way we can figure that out is through meditation.
Oh, that's such a good advice, because we always
Yeah.
have time. We just have to make it,
Yeah.
honestly. But with this job application kit, it sometimes gets very frustrating and stressful,
Yeah.
the
That's when you
rejection.
need even more meditation because like we take shower,
Yeah,
we do detox to our body. Your brain needs rewiring too. And the more data you keep on loading on it, it never gets break. Even if you are in your sleep, you are thinking about what to do, how to do this math, how to write this formula, or how to do this project. So it's never taking getting rest. And I can
correct.
see that. Like I have been doing meditation for over 10 years now, and I have seen that like I can just attract ideas. Like my company had just launched an idea hub where people can go write any idea. Like within 30 days, I have put some 10 ideas and everybody's mind is blown over there. And I'm surprised myself that how am I getting this idea? And it's a long preparation. It's the 10 years of continuous meditation. And a lot of people think that meditation is a waste of time. It's like, when you go to the gym, do you see change every day in yourself?
no.
You don't.
You
But
don't.
if you are consistent for a very long time, you one day you will see the magic. It's the same with meditation. It doesn't show, but you will see that even if you are like that the life is very unfair. In the office you will do a lot of hard work and it's possible that your colleague gets promotion or they get award and you don't, and that will happen to every single one of you.
Mm,
But what will keep you balanced and emotionally intelligent, especially for women who just get hurt very quickly and start crying? The meditation will just keep you, make you like resilient and not break down on such situations. But
mm,
it will take time. Initially, it will feel like, oh my God, like it's just complete waste of time. I'm sitting doing nothing.
mm,
Just starts with 2 minutes or 30 seconds maybe.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
And marginal improvement, just go from 30 seconds to 15 minutes or something.
mm,
One day you will see the magic.
mm. That's a
And
that's a
Steve
great.
Jobs,
Mm,
have you heard Steve Jobs? He used to do meditation all the
mm,
time. All
mm,
his iPhone idea came through his intuition.
Oh.
mhm,
It just comes to you. The universe conspires, and because your brain has more space now. It is away from clutter. You don't get annoyed easily. Even if somebody is annoying, you are still smiling.
mm.
So I highly recommend.
That's a great takeaway, Kriti. We
Yeah,
humans are in a way manifestations of universe, right?
yeah,
We are made of the same particles that universe is also made of. So
yes.
listening to universe is the best. Meditation is the best way to listen to the universe. That's a great
Yeah,
takeaway. Thanks a
yeah,
lot for joining us,
yeah.
Kriti. It's been great
Hmm.
listening to you. Thanks a lot for
Yeah,
joining us. Any
thank you.
takeaway points from you?
Thank you, Kirti. Honestly, like the whole time when you were speaking, I thought, I mean, I'm gonna just jot down the points after like your interviews. I don't want to forget them, even though we have it recorded. But thank you
Yeah,
so much, honestly, for your
sure.
time, for your
Anytime.
advice, and
Yeah.
really like I really appreciate the work you're doing and how you said,
Hmm.
dream big, go for the big
Hmm.
companies. That's the advice,
Hmm.
honestly, nobody gave me till now. Honestly, I'll be
Yeah.
honest. So thank you,
Yeah. In
honestly.
my experience, that's what because in small companies, every time I thought that this is going to end, they're going to lay off. And
Yeah.
in big companies, I never thought that. Like it literally
Mm.
never came to my mind that this company is going to lay off. They don't.
Right. So there is
Yeah.
stability there that gives a lot of
Yeah.
mental peace, I believe. Yes.
And a
So,
lot of companies let you, like big companies let you go cross-functional. So, for example, you
okay.
started as a software engineer and you thought that, oh, this is not what I wanted to do. This is like completely different than, and you will realize often in your life that this is what
Mm,
small companies let you go from engineering to HR to finance to go explore which one you want. Like my
right.
company does that, and a lot of big companies do that. And a lot of people, like a lot of companies also give you this. Your career plan, you have to type a career plan, like eventually what do you want to become. If you want to become your CEO, you have to go cross functionally to every single department before you
Yeah.
can become CEO. So that is also, like in big companies, they allow you to build your path wherever you want to go. That's why I highly recommend going for big companies.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so
Sure.
much, Kirti. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate. I know you're very busy,
Yeah.
yet you gave us the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we hope we will
Yeah,
be
me
in
too.
contact. Yes,
Yeah.
we'll be in contact
Yeah,
and
and ping me on LinkedIn if you need anything. I will make sure that your queries are answered.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much,
All right.
Kirti.